My name is Kathy Benjamin, and I live in Dilworth, Minnesota, and I have 3 roles at F5. I'm a care coordinator, a tribal and community liaison, and a learning development specialist. So I identify as an addict myself. I have about 8.5 years of recovery. I was born into addiction from both sides, and that carried on through their lines as well. I was also raised in the foster care system, and so that has a big part of my story because eventually when I fell to my addiction, my kids fell into foster care, and when I found recovery, I was able to also foster my older kids until I had adopted them. And so addiction has been in my life from every realm, and now I have been dealing with it with my own children as well. Always knew that I struggled with addiction. It was never a secret of mine. I think even when I started using at 12 years old, I knew that there was a problem that I had just because of the way that I grew up. And so I don't know that I ever really put too much thought if I was going to find recovery or not. I maybe just felt that I was always damned and that there wasn't another option until I lost my sister, and I remember all the words she had pleaded to me about not using anymore. And so when that happened, then I knew that there was recovery and that it was possible for me. I felt like I needed to make a change after my best friend, my sister, had passed away. She died by suicide, and what she didn't know was that a year prior I had actually tried to take my own life. And so when I found out she had lost her life, I was in jail at the time, and when I had gotten out, I went to go see her mom, and I went to go see my nephew. And when he seen me, the first thing he did is he went to go look and see in the car that I was in to see if his mom was in there. And he asked me, "TT, is my mommy with you?" I remember seeing the look on his face and how sad that was, and like the despair, and like also the excitement that he might see his mom. And I knew that he was never going to see her again. And a few months after I had gotten released from jail, I was starting to debate that thought myself again, and I pictured that face on my kids' face and realized that I couldn't do that to them, and if I kept using, that's what was going to happen. And so that's when I realized a change needed to be made. My first year of recovery was full of aha moments. So that's what they always call them in treatment. Like, you learn something new and you're like, oh my goodness. Trauma wires our brains in not the correct places for things to make sense. And so in the first year of recovery, I feel like it's like replugging those things and relearning different scenarios and how to love and how to cope and things like that. And so my first year of recovery was tough, but it was really influencing on my life in general. Obviously, it's recovery. But the inspiration I felt every time I got a new aha moment, I wanted to share that with other people. And so it was really defining for me. The kind of support I needed after the first year of recovery, a lot of moral support, I feel like is what I needed. My whole family struggles with addiction, and at that time, and now for the most part, my family still struggles with addiction and active addiction, and so I didn't have a lot of support emotionally, mentally, morally, like I said too, and so having somebody there to advocate for me would have really helped. However, at the same time, I learned how to advocate for myself, but it could have been better if I had more support. I've been in recovery for 8.5 years now, and there's a few things that I would tell somebody looking for recovery. The first one is every so often I would wake up with this, sometimes it would be little, sometimes it would be bigger, but it was this little flash of hope that I would feel sometimes. And I would just feel it, and then it would pass, and then it would be followed by doom feelings. And so if I could have gone back, I would have told myself to act on it right when I felt it, and continue to act and continue to move even though I didn't want to, because I know what came afterwards. So when I got clean, that's what I did. Every little inspiration of hope I would get, I would move it, I would make more goals. Because the last one worked, I knew that this one would work. It just may take time and effort. And then the other ones is 3 that we use in my 12-step program, and it's honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. So stay honest, not only with the people around you, but with yourself. The more work you put in on yourself, the more self-aware you you become and the more honest you're able to be with yourself. The other one is being open-minded. And so when somebody introduces something to you to try, just try it, because the worst that's going to happen is nothing, because you're going to learn a lesson on something that didn't work for you. And that's wisdom. That's where we get that from. And then willingness is just do it. Like just the more you say no, the more you're keeping yourself in a box. Again, you're just keeping yourself from things that may help better your recovery and yourself and your surroundings. And the worst thing that can happen is nothing. You will learn a lesson.